Okay, so we should be all set up as far as our character in Unity. Let's go over and create some code in our player character controller. So if I go over my scripts, player controller, double click there, and we'll go ahead and go edit this. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our jump variables. I'll go ahead and make a note. This is jump. First we need a Boolean grounded. I'm going to set it to false because he actually flies in, if you remember right. He's falling in, rather. Then I need a float called ground check radius. I'll set it equal to 1.2 float. Then I need a public layer mask ground layer, a public transform ground check, then a public float jump power, and this jump power I will set based on how high I want him to jump, and then we'll have to get these ground layers and transform ground check. Alright, so that sets up our variables there. Now let's go ahead and write the code to actually make this happen. So let's go into update, and at the very top here we're going to put in our jump code. Alright, may seem a little complicated at first and it may be a little confusing, but just keep going and I promise it'll make more sense. If grounded and input dot get axis. Now we've done that before. If we go in and look at that real quick, if input dot get axis jump is greater than 0. Okay, so I'll just save that. We'll go back into Unity and I'll remind you of something. So if you go into edit and project settings input, on these axes we have a jump axis right here, and it's going to return a low number like 0 if it's not being used, and a higher number if it is being used, right? And space bar will get us a jump. Okay, so let's go back over to our code and keep typing. So if is grounded is, so if he's grounded, our character, and we're pushing the space bar here, and it's returning a value that's greater than 0, then we need to run some code. Okay. MyAnim, we already have that. Dot set bool. We haven't done a set bool yet, but that's a nifty way of setting the bool on that animator, this animator controller here, and we will need to set the bool for this is grounded. Okay, so that's how we access this feature right here. Is we grab our animator, which is way up here, right here, where we declare that variable, and then we actually grab that variable on start right there. That's what that is, and now we're setting a bool on that animator. Okay, so, and we're going to set the bool is grounded. That's why we're using these quotation marks to select it, and then false. Going to make that false. Okay, because that would mean he's about to jump. Now myRB, another game object that we grabbed earlier, dot velocity is equal to new vector2. You guys have used vector2s a lot. So for x, we don't want it to move anywhere in the x, right? myRB dot velocity dot x. So we'll just keep that what it was, and then we'll go 0 float on the y. Then myRB dot add force. I don't think we've done an add force yet, but this is a pre-built function that takes two vectors, or sorry, it takes a vector and it takes a force mode. So let's go ahead and go a new vector2, 0 on the x, and then jump power. That's that variable we declared at the top for how much jump speed and power we want to give him. And then force mode, the kind of force we're going to add, force mode 2D. Don't forget to do the 2D force mode. And then there's two kinds. There's an impulse and a force mode. So there's force and then there's impulse. Might be fun for you guys to play with those and see what the difference is. See how it changes your jump. Something you definitely want to do is get into your code and try different things. Sometimes it won't work at all. It'll break the code. But sometimes you'll discover new things about Unity and about coding, right? So let's continue here. And then grounded equals false. Okay? And then a little bit more code here. We need to grounded is equal to physics 2D dot overlap circle. Okay, this is a function pre-built in, and we're going to pass it ground check dot position and ground check radius and ground layer. Okay, perfect. And then myAnim, we need to set the bool again, is grounded to grounded. Okay, so now we just need to assign these variables that we made public in Unity. So let's go back into Unity real quick. And you need to select your player, because that's where that player character control is. Let's go in the inspector. Right here now we need to set ground layer to ground, and this ground check, we need to drag this ground check over here. I'm sorry. Let me select that again. I'll just drag ground check over here to ground check. Okay, and we actually have to give them jump power. So I'm going to start off with value like 15. I'll hit save here, and let's go ahead and play and see if this works. Okay, falling in there, like moving around, and I hit spacebar. Oh, I get a jump. And he goes into the animation phase. We now have a jumping dragon. This is wonderful. The world will never be the same. Up next, we're going to make the camera actually follow our character so that he doesn't fall off the screen and we just get these lovely clouds here. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Happy coding.